Hey, what's happening, everyone? Grill Father Johnny L here, and today we're going to be talking about wood pellets, how they're made, what kinds I use, and a few other things as well. If you are new to the channel and this is your first time checking in, we want to give you a great big Texas North welcome. Hey, Texas North is open, and we're ready to talk wood pellets. I'll be right back.
We are live from my backyard where I am smoking these meat like a brisket. I'm making meat now. Someone asked me, do I smoke meat? That's gonna be delicious. Yeah, if I smoke meat, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Now, the first thing that I want to say today is that not all wood pellets are created equally. You will find lots of brands out there in the marketplace, and some are high end, some are on the lower end in terms of quality. Same thing with price. They'll run the whole gamut in terms of price. Some are only available online. Others, like the Pit Boss brand, are more readily available in stores. Now, basically, a pellet, just like a wood chip or a chunk or a split, it's just a type of wood that directly affects the color, taste, and texture of the meat. Pellets are made of natural hardwood, but I do want to caution you before I go on that what you see on a pellet bag is maybe a little bit deceiving. It may say that you're getting a maple pellet, for example, but there's a little bit more than that you're getting in that pellet than just maple. And in most cases, pellets have a base wood such as oak or alder that's blended in. And what that does is creates consistency in the performance of the pellet. Different types of wood, as you know, have different densities, different burn rates, and produce different amounts of heat and smoke and ash. For example, cherry burns faster than hickory. So having a base of oak to the cherry pellet, that will even everything out so that there's consistency across the different kinds of wood that a particular manufacturer will make. Now, pellets are made basically by transforming trees, lumber scrap, and sawdust and wood chips into uniform pieces. The wood is dried out, then it goes through a pellet mill, and the pellet mill shapes the wood into rods. And the high pressure of going through that pellet mill process causes the wood to produce what's called lignin. And that's a polymer that binds the wood pieces and the sawdust together. And then the rods are cut into the shape of pellets and are cooled down, allowing them to harden. And then the pellets end up either in a silo or going directly into bags and into the market. So that's a little bit about wood pellets, and we'll learn a little bit more. We'll go inside, take a closer look at the pellets that I use, how I store them, and we'll talk about a few other things as well. I'll see you inside. We're inside now, and I'd like to share with you the kinds of pellets that I use in my Pit Boss. But first, I'd like to just give you a quick show here of the different kinds of wood fuel that get used in smoking. Obviously, these are the pellets that we're talking about today. And right here in the middle are what you would call the wood chips that you can use in a smoke tube, for example. Next to it is a wood chunk. You can see the bark is on the chunk there. And then finally, this is essentially a small split that you would use in an offset smoker, also with the bark on. I think technically it would be really classified as a large wood chunk versus a split. A split is much bigger than that. But I just wanted to show you how the different kinds of wood are different from each other. And obviously from here over, none of these are going to go into your pellet smoker. I do believe there's one pellet smoker out there now that allows you to put chips in a special little bin in the actual smoker, but by and large, a pellet smoker, you should only be using pellets. Now, one of the things that I want to show you that I have posted in the area where I keep all my barbecue tools and gadgets is a meat smoking guide. You can see it has a lot of information. It has all the different kinds of wood on the left-hand side and what kind of flavor you're going to get out of them when you use them, whether it's strong or mild or a medium, and then what kind of flavor profile the particular wood will produce. Finally, towards the middle there, it shows which types of meat work best with those different kinds of wood. So the areas that have check marks in are where the wood is best used for, and everything else that has a dot in it, the wood is also good for those types of meat as well. So for example, if you look at the apple there, it is showing that apple wood produces a mild flavor, which will result in a flavor profile that's sweet and fruity tasting. And apple wood is really used best for pork, like pulled pork, ribs, and chicken. You can use it for beef and turkey as well, but it goes really best with pork and chicken. Now, here are the different kinds of woods that I use. I have 5 total, but 4 that I really use on a regular kind of basis. And the first one here, the lumberjack pellets. They come from Wisconsin, and I buy them online at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. And the 2 that I get from lumberjack are the mesquite and pecan. With the lumberjack pellets, they leave the bark on the primary wood, meaning they leave the bark on the mesquite, but they would remove the bark from the base, from the oak. So this will allow the rich flavor of the primary wood, the mesquite, to really shine through. Now, the pecan, that'll give you a real southern smoke flavor. It's really good with poultry and ribs, and just give you an overall nutty and spicy flavor. Really a versatile kind of wood that you can use with just about everything. And I wanted to mention that in the pecan, that the base is 60% red oak, and then the rest is 40. The 40% is pecan that makes up that particular pellet. The mesquite is a strong wood, gives off a strong, spicy flavor, used mainly with beef, and the mixture of the mesquite, also the same as the pecan, 60% red oak base, and the rest, the 40%, is the mesquite, the actual mesquite wood. Moving on here to the next brand is cooking pellets. They also come from Wisconsin, and I get those online from Amazon. The 3 kinds that I get are the apple mash, the black cherry, and finally the hickory. The apple mash, that'll give you a sweet and fruity flavor, really good with pork and ribs and chicken. The black cherry, also sweet and fruity. Again, same thing, really good with pork and ribs and chicken. And then finally, the hickory, and that gives off a strong flavor. And hickory's universal and versatile wood as well, really good with pork and ribs and beef. Their woods, their pellets are actually 100%. So the cherry is 100% cherry. The hickory is 100% hickory. They don't have any fillers or any base woods in it. Now the Bear Mountain, they come from Colorado. Also get those online from their website, Bear Mountain. The 2 that I purchased there are alder and maple, and the alder really kind of used more with smoking fish. It gives off a mild, sweet flavor. Then the maple, also a sweet flavor, but more versatile, really good with pork and ribs and chicken. Now, the 4th kind of pellet that I use is the only kind that I use from Pit Boss. Pit Boss makes a wide range of different kinds of pellets. Even though I have a Pit Boss smoker, I only use this particular kind of pellet, and that is the post oak pellet. And I get those online at Walmart and Pit Boss. They come out of Phoenix, Arizona. Basically, a little history on post oak is that really that kind of oak comes from the mid-Atlantic to southeast region and into Texas. And it originally got its name from Western cattle ranchers in the early 1800s. They needed some strong and straight wood to make the fence posts to keep their cattle in. So the branches and wood from the local oak work pretty well. So that's how the name post oak came into being. I like to use post oak a lot. It has a nice spicy smoke flavor. I think it's fairly versatile. And before I move on, I just wanted to point out the different color variations in the different brands and the different kinds of wood. You can see that some are darker, some are a little bit lighter. Some brands cut them smaller, cut the pellets smaller. Some are a little bit larger. So just wanted to point that out as well. Now, moving on to the last wood pellet that I use, and that is the Knotty Wood pellet out of Woodland, California. I get these online at Home Depot. Two kinds that they make. The almond here on the left, which is gives off a nutty flavor, as you might imagine, good with multiple kinds of meat. And then the plum also gives off a sweet, even a fruity flavor. I am actually phasing out using the Knotty Wood pellets. And the main reason is because what you see right here in the middle. This is known as clinker. You'll see that it looks like a miniature meteor. This is the big reason that I don't use the Knotty Wood pellets so much. I'm using them more in my smoke tubes if and when I do use a smoke tube. But what I want to do right now is bring in a segment that really talks about what clinker is. And this is a segment from another video that I made that you'll have to check out. It's on cleaning and maintaining your pellet smoker. So what we'll do now is cut to that segment that talks about clinker and how it impacts your smoker. And then when we're done with that, we will move on to our next segment, which is taking a closer look at how and where I store my pellets. One of the pellets that I use produces a lot of this clinker, and it's the Knotty Wood pellets. And basically, clinker is a byproduct of burning pellets in a controlled chamber pot like we have here. It's tree bark that has silica in it, and when it's burned, it melts and mixes with the ash and becomes clinker. You can see these are some pieces of clinker from a couple of cooks that I did. You can see that it's hard and it can get pretty large in size. Those are some of the bigger ones that I've accumulated from a couple of different smokes. And what happens is that it gets stuck in the bottom of your fire pot. It overwhelms the igniter, which causes flame outs and can also cause dirty smoke to blow back through the auger box and up into and out of your hopper. And you definitely don't want smoke coming out of your hopper. So the buildup of this clinker is not a good thing in terms of having your smoker run efficiently. I'm basically weaning off of the Knotty Wood pellets. I don't use them on long cooks anymore. I'll use them on short cooks, such as doing tri-tip or a picanha or a Cornish game hen, but I'm basically phasing them out because of the clinker. So this is where my wood pellets live. They're in the garage here and they're super protected. I'll get back to that word in a moment. I keep them in these Kingsford pellet containers, and I got these at Lowe's and Home Depot. They were about $15 at the time when I bought them. I think they're double in price now, and you can get them online also. What I've done is I've tagged these in alphabetical order, and as you can see, from alder to almond to apple mash, all the way down to post oak. A couple of containers I have duplicates since I use those pellets more so than the others. So I want to just give you a little bit of a closer look at one of these containers. As you can see, they're a hard plastic, very well constructed. There's a pour spout on them. I don't use the pour spout. I open up the cover every time. I just take it off. And these hold, incidentally, these hold 40 pounds of pellets. So one 40-pound bag or two 20-pound bags. They are a little bit heavy when they have 40 pounds in, I have to tell you. Once I remove the pellets from the original bag, original packaging, and use them in the smoker, I pour the rest into a garbage bag, a kitchen type garbage bag. I can pour them easily into the hopper that way, and then when I'm done, I can just drawstring the bag and remove the air. Again, they're protected, very well protected from the elements, not only by the fact that they're in the garage, but in this container, in the bag, and I can slip the container in and out very easily. Take it out in the back, use it, bring it back home, and they're well maintained and safe till the next time around. What I'd like to do now is just a little demonstration of what happens when wood pellets and water or wood pellets and moisture get together. And as you can see, I have 6 pellets here, and you'll agree that they're all about the same size. I have a dry saucer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of water, just enough to cover the bottom of the saucer. And I'm not going to do any more than that because I don't need to show you what I'm trying to get at. Now, what I'm going to do is take these 3 pellets and place them in the water. And you can see that the pellets, the water is not even covering them. They're barely halfway deep in water. And what you'll see is, and very, very quickly, you will find out that within about a minute or so, these pellets are going to start to swell or expand, and then they are going to start to disintegrate. Now, keep in mind that pellets are basically compressed sawdust, so we're not dealing with a solid piece of wood like a stick or a chunk or a wood chip. And I want to demonstrate this because I want to go back to the point I was trying to make earlier, in that I think it's a best practice that when you're done with the cook, remove any unused pellets from the hopper, burn out or burn through any pellets that are in that auger, and then get everything out of the firebox and clean it out. Because if you get any kind of moisture, whether it be rain or snow, that somehow gets into that grill, whether it's the hopper, fire pot, or the auger, here's what's going to happen. These pellets are going to start to expand, like I said. You can already see that they're already disintegrating, and I'll just swoosh this around here, and it'll be more evident. I'm not even touching them, and they're falling apart. And this is only after about a minute or so. And if the water was deeper, or if I left it in there longer, they would basically disintegrate almost completely. And granted, you're not going to have a pool of water in your smoker, but I just wanted to demonstrate that even with just a little tiny bit of water, here's what's going to happen. And this is what you do not want. You want to always be dealing with dry pellets. So again, in order to make sure that your smoker is running effectively and efficiently, and that you don't encounter any kind of electrical failure or malfunction, Again, I really just want to encourage you to get the pellets out of your smoker after a cook, cover that grill, and by doing all that, you're going to be playing it safe. Now, I want to go over a little process that I do, and that is sifting the pellets. And it's not something that I do every single cook. I do it when I remember, and it's a completely optional step to do. Really, it's overkill. But the reason I do it is, one, I want to get the dust, as much dust out of the population of pellets as I can, just so the grill will run as efficiently as possible. And two, I want to get big pellets out, because those pellets, you run a little bit of a risk of them jamming up the auger. Very, very little risk. You'll hear the auger breaking them up once in a while, which just makes me a little nervous. But one time when I put my pellets into the hopper, I found a wood chip that was about that big. And this isn't it. I lost the piece that I had. I have this taped to the top of my hopper, and here's a picture of it taped to the top. And basically, this is a reminder that if I don't go through the sifting process, that once I pour the pellets in, I make sure I run my hand through them and ensure that something like this doesn't end up in there, or again, just to break up some of those pellets. You never know what happens in the manufacturing and processing. And in that one case, a big wood chip got in there, and you definitely do not want a wood chip to be going through your auger. It will jam it up. So basically, I have the pellet bin, a garbage can, and a bucket that the sifted pellets go in, and then I will pour those into the hopper when I'm ready to start to cook. So I will just take a scooper and pour enough in to barely cover the bottom, give it a few shakes, give it a quick exam here to make sure I don't have any big pieces in there. And here's one, for example, that I will want to break in half. Just snap it in half. I really don't want the pellets to be any larger than, say, 1.5 inches. Anything over that, I just break it in half and move on, and just keep going through the process, sifting and inspecting and putting them into the bucket. And it goes pretty quickly. I don't fill my hopper up completely, so I only go up about halfway on it. So this will go a lot faster than if you were trying to get enough pellets to fill up the hopper. Again, completely optional. I get it. It's overkill, but when you have a big wood chip go in there, it makes you a little bit paranoid sometimes. So that's why I do it.